Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into WordSmart List 22. We're going to tackle 25 new words, but we're not just going to read a list. Nope, we're going to conquer them by grouping them into simple themes, which makes them way easier to remember. Ready? Let's get started. So, our first group of words is all about things that happen before something else. And here's a little secret for your tests. If you see the prefix pre, it almost always means before. Think of it as a little clue. Let's see how it works. First up, we have prelude. A prelude is basically an introduction that comes before the main show. You know that opening music in a movie that sets the mood? That's a prelude. Or think about those dark, heavy clouds in the sky. They're often a prelude to a big thunderstorm. It's what happens first. Now, this one's really interesting. If something is premeditated, it means it was planned out before it happened. It wasn't an accident or a spur-of-the-moment thing. You hear this a lot with crimes, right? A premeditated attack. But it doesn't have to be negative. You could say her amazing surprise party was premeditated down to the last tiny detail. Okay, these two can be a little confusing, so let's clear it up. A presage is an outside sign, like an omen that something is about to happen. So those dark clouds we talked about, that's a presage of a storm. A presentiment, on the other hand, is an inside feeling, a personal hunch that something is coming. You might say, I had a presentiment that something bad was going to happen. One is what you see, the other is what you feel. Let's look at two more pre-words. To presuppose something means you just assume it's true beforehand, without any proof. For instance, a difficult science book might presuppose that you already know the basics. And then there's predispose. This means to make someone likely to feel or act a certain way beforehand. For example, having a naturally friendly personality might predispose you to making new friends easily. And the last word in this group is presumably. This is a super useful word for when you're pretty sure something is true, but you're not 100% certain. Like, the mail was sent yesterday, so presumably it will get here tomorrow. Or, he's putting on his heavy jacket. Presumably it's cold outside. All right, let's switch gears. Our next theme is all about people. These words help us describe different roles and relationships over time, like who came before you and who's going to come after you. This is a perfect example of that before and after idea. A predecessor is the person who had a role or a job before you. So the president before the current one is his predecessor. On the flip side, progeny refers to a person's children or their descendants, the people who come after them. So predecessor is before, progeny is after. Simple as that. A protege is a younger person who gets special guidance and support from someone older and more experienced. You might call that person a mentor. Imagine a really talented young painter who becomes the protege of a world-famous artist. The mentor helps the protege grow their skills and build a great career. Next up, two very different kinds of people. A pundit is an expert who gets paid to give their opinions, usually on TV or on the internet. You see political pundits all the time on the news, right? Then we have pseudonym. A pseudonym is just a fake name. Authors often use them. For example, the famous writer Mark Twain, that was a pseudonym for his real name, Samuel Clemens. Okay, let's move on to our third theme, how we communicate. These words cover everything from just silly, meaningless chatter all the way to really big, important announcements. Here we have two totally opposite ways of talking. To prattle means to talk on and on about silly, unimportant things. You know, like how a small child might prattle about their toys for hours. But to proclaim is the exact opposite. It means to announce something big and official so that everyone knows about it. A king might proclaim a new law for the whole country. These two are all about getting ideas out there into the world. When you propound an idea, you're putting it forward for other people to think about. A scientist might propound a new theory. Now, to propagate an idea is to spread it far and wide to lots and lots of people. You could use the internet to propagate a message all across the globe. Our next group is packed with adjectives, describing words. We use these to talk about the qualities or conditions of people, places, and even situations. Okay, let's talk about the word pregnant. Now, I'm sure we all know the most common meaning, a woman who is going to have a baby. But that's probably not the meaning you're going to see on your test.
So here it is, the second meaning, the one you need to know. Pregnant can also mean full of importance or unspoken meaning. You'll often hear the phrase, a pregnant pause. That's that long, heavy silence in a movie or a conversation where no one is talking, but you can feel the tension or importance in the air. So just remember, it means something is full of meaning.
Here are two different ways for something to be original. Primal means something is basic, ancient, and fundamental, like our primal instincts or our primal fear of the dark. But pristine means original in a totally different way. It means something is perfectly clean, untouched, and pure, like a pristine white sand beach that no one has ever walked on. Now for two words that are complete opposites. Prurient describes an unhealthy and obsessive interest in sexual things. You might hear a gossip magazine being criticized for its prurient articles about celebrities. Then, on the other end of the spectrum, we have punctilious. This means being super careful and paying attention to every single tiny detail and rule of correct behavior. Someone who is punctilious would plan a party and make sure absolutely everything is perfect.
All right, we're in the home stretch now. For our final group, we have words that describe actions, special skills, and the rules we follow when we do things.
To procure something means to get it, but it usually implies you had to put in some special effort. It's more than just buying something at the store. You might have to work really hard to procure a ticket to a sold-out concert. Now, pummel is a much more intense action. It means to hit something or someone again and again very hard. You could say that huge waves pummeled the coastline during a storm.
Prowess is just an awesome word. It describes an amazing, superior level of skill or great courage. You could talk about a soccer player's prowess on the field, a doctor's surgical prowess, or a soldier's prowess in battle. It just means they are incredibly good at what they do.
Our next word is protocol. Protocol is basically the official set of rules for how to behave in formal situations. For example, there's a strict protocol for how world leaders should meet and greet each other. In a science lab, a researcher has to follow a very specific protocol to make sure their experiment is done correctly. It's the proper way of doing things. And there you have it, 25 new words, all broken down into easy-to-remember groups. But, just listening isn't enough. The absolute best way to make these words stick is to start using them. So my question for you is, which one of these words are you going to try to use in a sentence today? Thanks for joining me, and keep on building that amazing vocabulary.